I've worked with thousands of crypto investors over the last 6 years, and they usually only reach out to me once it's already too late. For example, one subscriber recently lost $80,000 in Bitcoin to a deepfake AI scam, and another subscriber woke up to $7,000 missing from his wallet after unknowingly delegating control of his wallet to a scammer. So in this guide, I'm breaking down exactly how to avoid something like this from ever happening to you, along with the mistakes and user errors that make it impossible for you to ever make money in crypto. And it doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or even a more experienced user. I've simplified this guide so that anyone can follow along and get value from it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to secure your crypto the no BS way, which in my opinion is the easiest way. Let's get into it. Recently, I had a major realization that if you keep losing money in crypto, eventually it becomes impossible to ever make money, which is the goal for a lot of crypto investors. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. The reason most crypto investors end up leaving crypto and never seeing any progress isn't because it's hard per se, but it's because they're focused on the wrong thing. Now let's look at some quick stats because this is setting it all up for what we're going to cover. The average crypto investor in 2025 lost $2,700 to scams. The 2025 year saw record high losses totaling over $17 billion to scams and fraud. And now scammers are starting to leverage AI to target victims more precisely, and it's becoming much harder to detect scams, and scammers are becoming way more convincing with this technology. And each time you lose money in crypto, you have to recover that loss before you'll ever be in profit. So if you lose $5,000 to a scam, you have to first make $5,000 back just to break even, and then anything else you make on top of that is what your profit is. And that's what I mean. The bigger the hole you dig, the deeper you're going and getting stuck. So why do people lose money in crypto? Well, the number one reason is user error, and this is both good and bad. The good thing is that user error is completely in your control. That means you have the ability to fix it. So that's good news, because once you fix it, you stop losing money and then you can focus on making money. The bad is, in crypto, there's no start here guide or a start here button. We're expected to learn everything on our own, and losing money has become the barrier to entry to getting into crypto and figuring it all out, which in my opinion is completely unacceptable. Sure, maybe there will be some costs here and there, but to have to lose thousands of dollars every year just to learn how to navigate crypto, that should not be the case. Now, there are a couple reasons why I believe crypto is this way. In crypto, you are your own bank. You are fully responsible for securing and managing your funds. Whereas in traditional finance, you just put your money in a bank and they insure you up to $250,000 and you don't really have to worry about it. However, in crypto, there's no banks holding your funds. Also, if you lose access to it, depending how you have it stored, it's done. Like, you can't gain access to it again. Additionally, if something happens, like you get scammed or you send your crypto to the wrong address, all transactions in crypto are final. There's no reversing it or there's no chargebacks. So once it's done, it's done. And security in crypto is really optional. You can choose to learn how to secure your crypto and live stress-free, or you can choose not to secure your crypto and end up losing so much money that it makes it impossible to ever make money, which again is where I believe most investors get stuck. Not because they're not smart or they don't want to secure their crypto, they just don't know where to start or have a blueprint to follow, which is exactly why I'm creating this guide. Now, the good thing about crypto security is that it's actually really easy, and I think a lot of people make it way more complex than it really needs to be. You have one goal in crypto, and that is to protect the key that is used to access and manage your crypto. So there's a lot of different keys in crypto, which I'm going to break down right now, and you really only need to protect one, and as a result, you protect the rest of them. So the first key that you get, and this is one that you are going to interact with, is called your seed phrase. This is a set of words that acts as your backup for your wallet, and this allows you to recover access to your wallet if you ever lose access. So you just enter these words into whatever wallet you're using and you'll be able to access all of your crypto. So this is the master key for all of your crypto. It's also important to know anyone who knows your seed phrase has access to your crypto as well. So this is why you want to protect it. More on that later. So the master key is derived from the seed phrase. It's a key that generates all of your private keys. You'll never interact with your master key. The seed phrase is the human readable version of the master key, and the master key is like the cryptographic version that you never really see or interact with. But all you need to know is that it generates your private keys. Your private keys you'll also probably never see or interact with directly. However, anytime you sign a crypto transaction using your crypto wallet, your private key is signing that transaction. You're approving the transaction with your digital signature, which is your private key. Then you have your public address. And this is where you receive crypto. You could think of it like your crypto email. So anyone who has your public address can send you crypto. They don't need approval from you. They can also find this address publicly on the blockchain because it is a public address. It's publicly available on the blockchain network for really anyone to see. How you generate and store your keys is ultimately what determines how secure your crypto is. So when you set up a new crypto wallet, for example, it randomly generates a brand new key for you that's never been used before. And it does this by taking words from what's called the BIP39 word list. This is where all seed phrases are derived from. It's a list of 2,048 random words. You could look it up on Google. You could look at all the words. This is where all seed phrases come from. So you can't necessarily create your own seed phrase using your own words because they're all derived from this list. That said, seed phrases are not brand or wallet specific. Generally speaking, if you create a seed phrase in one wallet, you can then take that seed phrase and import it into another wallet and access your crypto. And this is another reason why your one goal is to keep your seed phrase safe, because anyone who gets access to your seed phrase has access to your crypto. Now, the most secure way to store your keys is in an offline environment, which we'll get to here in a bit. And there are also multiple methods or tools that are used to store and manage your keys, which we're going to talk about next. To generate, manage, and store the keys to your crypto, you use something called a crypto wallet. Now, there are two main types of crypto wallets that both function a little differently, but ultimately they are just tools that are used to manage your crypto. The first type of crypto wallet is a custodial wallet. This is basically any centralized crypto exchange. So Coinbase, Robinhood, Kraken, Gemini, Crypto.com, those are all custodial wallets. But what does custodial wallet even mean? Well, it means that the exchange or the platform actually owns the keys that are used to access and manage your crypto. So they are the custodians of the keys and thus your crypto. Then we have a non-custodial wallet. This is a type of crypto wallet where you are the key owner. So this is popular crypto wallet apps like MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Exodus, Coinbase Wallet, not to get confused with Coinbase the exchange. But the main difference here between these two wallets is one owns and controls the keys for you. The other one allows you to be in control of your keys. Now, breaking this down even further, there are also two different types of non-custodial wallets, or wallets that allow you to own and control your keys. The first type, which is probably the most common, is what's known as a hot or a software wallet. Now, the reason it's called a hot wallet is because it actually stores the keys that are used to access and manage your crypto inside of the software on your internet connected device. Whereas with a cold wallet or a hardware wallet, it's its own physical device that takes your keys, removes them from an internet connected device, and stores them offline in the secure environment of the hardware wallet. Some popular examples of hardware wallets would be Ledger, Trezor, Tangem, and OneKey. Now let's look at each type of crypto wallet and go over their pros and cons, because a lot of people don't realize that these three different wallets all have different use cases and different jobs and should ultimately be used differently. They shouldn't all be treated the same. So we'll start with custodial wallets or crypto exchanges because this is where most people who start in crypto start off. So crypto exchanges are great for buying, selling, and trading crypto, but there's one major misconception. Crypto exchanges are not crypto wallets. They're not a place to hold your crypto. But there is some good that comes from crypto exchanges. Crypto exchanges are what's known as on and off ramp platforms. They allow you to turn your cash into crypto and your crypto back into cash. Unless you're using some kind of peer-to-peer marketplace, which most people don't do, a centralized crypto exchange is really the only way you're going to go back and forth between cash and crypto. They act as a starting ground for entering into crypto as well. So like I said, a lot of people start on crypto exchanges, which makes sense. That's how you get crypto. And ultimately, they can make crypto feel easy because they do kind of take on that responsibility, because ultimately they are holding your crypto in their wallet. And if you lose access to your account, for example, or you forget your password, there is a forgot password button and they can help you regain access to your account. However, that leads us into the bad and why crypto exchanges are bad and why you shouldn't hold your crypto there. You don't actually own your crypto on an exchange. When you have crypto on a centralized crypto exchange like Coinbase, that crypto is actually held in their wallet. This means they are in full control of your crypto, which is why they can and do freeze your funds and lock your account entirely. They've frozen my funds before for no reason that I know of, and they also locked my friend's account for well over a year due to security concerns. Now, you could see where this would be a major issue if you can't access your crypto, especially for a long time like a year, or if it's a large amount, because the crypto market is extremely volatile and opportunities can come and go within hours. So if you can't access your crypto and an opportunity comes up to sell your crypto for a profit and you're not able to do that, well, that's a big issue. And that's exactly why crypto exchanges are not meant to hold your crypto. They're really just meant to be used to buy, sell, and trade crypto, and then you get off there. Next, we have hot wallets or software wallets. This is generally the next natural step that people go towards after moving their crypto off an exchange. They'll probably move it into something like a hot wallet, like MetaMask. Now, here's why they're good. They're quick and easy and free to set up. You don't have to pay to download it or to set it up on your phone. It takes a minute. You create your wallet and you're ready to go. And they exist solely on your phone or on your computer, which all of us are pretty familiar with using apps on our phone and computer. So it's not like it's anything groundbreaking or new that we have to learn. They also give you access to the world of DeFi or decentralized finance. So this is things like crypto airdrop claims or mining crypto or using decentralized crypto exchanges to swap crypto. It basically opens up in a completely new world of crypto that you don't really have access to if your crypto is stuck on a crypto exchange. However, even though they allow you to control your keys, which is a lot better than a crypto exchange because then no one can freeze your funds or lock your account, where hot wallets store your keys is the main issue. They store your keys inside the software on your phone or computer, which are prone to malware and different threats of the internet. So if you accidentally download some malware or you have some kind of like spyware on your computer and someone is watching you, they can get access to your keys and ultimately steal your crypto. And this happens pretty often. There's actually a perfect example of this that happened pretty recently with one of the most popular hot wallets called Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet says attackers stole roughly $7 million in cryptocurrency from nearly 3,000 wallet addresses after compromising its Chrome browser extension. And they forced a malicious Chrome browser extension update so anyone who is using the Trust Wallet Chrome browser extension and access their wallet while this was going on ultimately ended up losing their crypto. And this wouldn't have happened if their keys weren't stored on their internet connected device where hackers would gain control over it. And that leads us into cold wallets or hardware wallets. This is what I consider the industry standard when it comes to crypto security. Crypto exchanges, crypto brokers, and the top 1%ers in the crypto space all use some form of cold storage to secure their crypto holdings. So it doesn't make any sense why we would use anything else as individual investors when we have access to this same type of technology. That said, the reason cold wallets are good is because they are proven to be the most secure method for storing your crypto. So your keys, instead of being stored on your internet connected device, are stored on a security specific device that never has a connection to the internet. So it basically eliminates the threat of the internet and stores your keys in a secure environment that's virtually hack proof. If used correctly, your crypto is going to remain secure for years to come. Also, there have been virtually zero cold wallet hacks, with a couple exceptions that were physical hacks of some wallets years ago now, but most of these hacks happen in a controlled lab area, and again, they all had to have physical access to the hardware wallet, so they had the hardware wallet in their hand. Now, there are some reasons why hardware wallets are bad. They're definitely not perfect. There is a learning curve to setting up and using a hardware wallet, especially if you've never used one or especially if you're new to crypto. And I would say this is the the biggest con to hardware wallets. There's also just a lot of different brands and styles to choose from, which we'll go over later in the video. But it can be very confusing, especially when you're just starting to research cold wallets. There's a lot of different terms and marketing strategies that these companies are using that ultimately just make it harder for the user to choose a good wallet, right? Which is all we want. We just want our crypto to be secure. And there is, of course, an initial upfront cost to purchase a hardware wallet. Now, hardware wallets range anywhere from $50 upwards of $450. And it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to spend $450 to get a secure hardware wallet. Even the $50 ones are going to be secure, which I will show you later on when I show you what my preferred cold wallets are. Now, before I show you how crypto is actually stolen, I want to make one thing really clear because I see a lot of confusion around this. Whether you're using a hot wallet, a cold wallet, or a crypto exchange, none of those platforms or tools actually hold any crypto. They are just tools that are used to access and manage the keys that are used to access and manage your crypto. All crypto lives on the blockchain network. Now, there's a lot of different blockchain networks. Bitcoin lives on the Bitcoin network, ETH lives on the Ethereum network, Sol lives on the Solana network, and so on. Even though it is a common saying, get your crypto into a hardware wallet, we don't actually mean put your crypto in a hardware wallet, or I don't actually mean that. It's just a common saying. What I'm actually saying is secure your keys using a cold wallet or using a hardware wallet, and thus you will secure your crypto. Now let's talk about how crypto is actually stolen. I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about how I've seen the thousands of people that I've worked with over the past few years and the over 14 million investors I've helped through my YouTube channel lose their crypto. I want to focus on the reality here. So there are countless scams and user errors to be made in crypto, but all of them fall into just three methods which crypto can actually be stolen. The first method is someone gets access to your seed phrase. The second method is someone gets physical access to your hardware wallet or just to your wallet. And the third method is that someone gets remote access to your wallet. Now let's break down each one of these common scams, the user errors that lead to them, and how to avoid them. So let's focus on someone getting physical access to your seed phrase. This is arguably the most common scam because it's the easiest scam to carry out. It requires the least effort, but it gives the biggest result for scammers. If they can get your seed phrase, then they have access to all of your crypto, not just a little bit, but your entire wallet. So how do scammers get your seed phrase? Well, these are the most common methods that I've seen them use. Fake customer support impersonation. This will usually appear in your email. Sometimes it can come through a phone call or even a text message. And if you're on social media, you can also see messages come through on there or even in the comments section. Also, in these emails, they will generally lead you to something like a phishing website that looks like an official wallet or exchange that you use. For example, if you use Coinbase, they'll direct you to a fake website that looks like Coinbase, but instead of accessing your Coinbase account, they'll have you enter your wallet seed phrase on their website, thus stealing your crypto. Also, certain Google ads, like if you type in Coinbase wallet or MetaMask wallet, sometimes the sponsored links that appear at the top of Google search results, sometimes, at least in the past, those have been fake phishing websites. So you have to be really careful and always double check the URL. Also, fake giveaways or airdrops that require a seed phrase verification. This is more common on social media. Scam emails, again, we already went over that, but scam emails are probably the most common here. There are malware and different types of keyloggers that can actually scan your device for saved seed phrases. And this is why you never want to store a digital copy of your seed phrase anywhere on your internet connected device, whether that's a screenshot or in your email or even in an encrypted file. None of that is safe at the end of the day, because if your device gets compromised, then it's very likely that your crypto will be compromised as well. And ultimately, social engineering from someone pretending to help you invest. They might ask you for your seed phrase. That's another common way. But the key takeaway here is that if anyone asks you for your seed phrase, it's a scam. No questions asked. So if someone asks you for a seed phrase or has you enter your seed phrase on a website, just know you're getting scammed. Okay, next is physical access to your wallet. Generally speaking, this is going to be your hardware wallet because it's its own physical device. Now, I would say this is less common, but it does happen with break-ins and robberies, especially if you're on social media flexing that you own a bunch of crypto and things like that. However, one of the key things you can do here is to make sure you store the PIN or password that's used to access your cold wallet separate from the actual cold wallet device. Because odds are if someone gets a hold of your cold wallet, they're still not going to be able to access it. They're designed to be secure even if someone gets a hold of it. But if you give them the PIN or passphrase, then they can just enter that and access all of your crypto. So make sure to store those things separately. The key takeaway here is that physical access only becomes a risk when combined with poor security habits or poor operational security. So again, store your wallet, your hardware wallet separately from the PIN or password that is used to access it, and you're going to be okay. And then we have someone gaining remote access to your wallet, and this can happen with any type of wallet, crypto exchange, hot wallet, cold wallet. Generally though, I'm talking about hot and cold wallets because they use something called a malicious transaction approval. So this is the hardest type of scam to detect because you're unknowingly granting scammer access to your wallet. So in crypto, with certain cryptocurrency networks like Ethereum and Solana, sometimes you have to sign a contract. And in that contract, there's something called a spin approval. And the spin approval allows the platform that you're interacting with to take a certain number of cryptos from your wallet. So let's say you're on a decentralized crypto exchange and you're trying to swap one crypto for another. And you're saying, yes, you can take $100 worth of this crypto out of my wallet in exchange for $100 worth of this crypto. That's how a legit spend approval would work, or a legit smart contract approval would work. A malicious smart contract would actually get you to approve that the scammer can take all of your crypto out of that specific wallet address without giving you anything in return. And oftentimes there are no signs that you're signing a malicious transaction approval, making it almost impossible to detect, and sometimes you can't detect it, and we'll touch more on this later, but ultimately this comes down to how you use your wallets, and that's the only way to avoid this specific scam. Another type of malicious transaction that I recently discovered from one of our members in my school community is called wallet delegation. Now, this is another type of malicious transaction, but instead of signing a spin approval, you're actually delegating control of your wallet to another crypto wallet address. In this case, it's going to be a scammer. So they can act on behalf of your wallet. So they could do things like send crypto from your wallet because you've essentially given them control from their wallet. And again, this is pretty new, and this just goes to show that scammers are continually evolving and becoming smarter. And this specific wallet delegation scam is even harder to detect than the malicious smart contract approvals. There's also malicious browser extensions, like the Trust Wallet example that I showed you. That was a legit browser extension, and someone malicious in the team pushed a malicious update. And then you have malware that can modify transaction details before signing, so they could do things like change the receiving address, so instead of sending it to the right address, you send it to the scammer's address. This does happen. It's called clipboard hijacking, but a lot of wallets at this point are immune to it. So it's not as common as malicious smart contract approvals. But the key takeaway here is that no wallet will protect you from granting a scammer access to your wallet. And this scam can be impossible to avoid if you don't use your wallets correctly, which I'm going to show you exactly how to use your wallets correctly later on. By the way, you heard me mention my school community. This is one of the only ways to get direct access to me and my exclusive community where we solely focus on crypto security. And in that community, you get 2 group calls per month. You also can ask questions 24/7 on our community board where myself and other community members will give you feedback. You can also learn from industry experts with our guest speakers. You can DM me for personal assistance, and there are exclusive deals and discounts if you're interested in signing up for Skrilla's Crypto School. I'll leave a link to that down in the description so you can learn more. Anyways, user error is the #1 reason why people lose money in crypto. And I do consider scams user error. However, with this, I'm specifically talking about the user just making a simple mistake and losing their crypto. So even though there are countless ways to lose your funds, these are the most common mistakes I see that lead to the most crypto lost. Not testing your seed phrase before sending crypto to your wallet. When you first set up a crypto wallet, whether it's a hot or a cold wallet, you should double check that the seed phrase you wrote down or recorded is recorded correctly. Because if you record it incorrectly, and then you ever need to recover access to your wallet because you're signed out for some reason and you have a bunch of crypto on that wallet, then come to find out you wrote down your seed phrase wrong, well, you won't be able to access that wallet ever again. So it's best to double check your seed phrase is correct before transferring crypto to your wallet. Now, most wallets, at least cold wallets, will have you re-enter your seed phrase before moving on. So this would count for that step. However, some wallets you'll actually have to factory reset and then import your seed phrase to double check that it works. Along with that, another user error I see is people losing their seed phrase. Obviously, you don't want to lose your seed phrase because that's the key to all of your crypto. So you want to secure your seed phrase so you can secure your crypto. Sending crypto to the wrong address. I would say this does happen, maybe not super often, but if you copy your receiving address from the wrong place, or maybe you thought you copied your address, but you copied a different address, you could end up sending your crypto to some other address and you'll never be able to recover it. Also, sending your crypto on the wrong blockchain network. So whenever you're sending crypto from a crypto exchange, for example, to your cold wallet, you need to make sure that you're sending and receiving on the same network. So the crypto exchange, when you press send, it's going to either tell you what network that crypto is on, or it's going to have you choose the network. When you go and copy the receiving address from your cold wallet, you want to ensure that that receiving address you copy is for that same network. So for example, if you're sending ETH from a crypto exchange like Coinbase to a cold wallet, you want to make sure that the ETH crypto address you copy is on the Ethereum network. And I'll show you how to transfer crypto here in a bit. Another mistake I see a ton of people make is not entering a memo tag when required, also known as a destination tag. Now, this is only required with certain cryptocurrencies like XRP, and it's only needed when sending crypto back to a crypto exchange, because a crypto exchange doesn't know what account to fund for these specific cryptocurrencies. So if you send your XRP to a crypto exchange without the memo tag, it will arrive in the exchange's wallet, but they won't know which user account to fund that crypto to. That's exactly why you want to use a memo tag. If you don't, you could lose your crypto permanently. In some cases, the crypto exchange can still recover your funds if you reach out to them. However, it's best to just avoid that from happening and use a memo tag. That said, you don't need to use a memo tag when sending crypto to your own cold wallet. All you need is the receiving address. So for XRP, if you're sending it to your cold wallet, the exchange might still ask you for a memo tag, but just know you don't need to put a memo tag if sending it to a cold wallet. And if it does force you to enter something for the memo tag when sending it to your cold wallet, just enter a few zeros and it will work. And then the last thing I would highly recommend doing that a lot of people don't do, especially if you're just transferring crypto for the first time, is to always do a test transaction. So before sending the total amount of crypto, whether that's $100 or $100,000, you should always do a small test transaction first, maybe $10, just to confirm that the crypto will arrive in the correct wallet address and that you're doing everything the right way. And the main takeaway here is that nearly all costly mistakes happen when you're in a rush. And if you're unsure of something, stop and always get the answer first. Never guess in crypto because guessing ultimately leads to losing money. Okay, now we're getting into the implementation of how to actually take all this information and use it to secure your crypto. And the way that I do this is using my friend S.A.M. So this is Sam. He looks a lot like me. But Sam is your best friend when it comes to securing your crypto. If you remember these 3 steps, you can secure any crypto with ease. So step number 1 is self-custody your crypto. So you need to get the keys and your crypto under your control. Step number 2 is to appropriate wallet use. Use your wallets the correct way to avoid being scammed or hacked. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Step number 3 is to make smart decisions. Avoid silly mistakes and sneaky scams that will drain your wallet. That's what this entire guide is showing you exactly how to do. Ultimately, this is actually really easy, which once this video is done and you sit there and you're like, wow, crypto security actually really is easy. So let's bring it all together. Step number 1, self-custody your crypto. To do that, you just need to buy a hardware wallet, which I'm going to show you my top recommendations here in a bit, and then you send your crypto from the exchange to your hardware wallet. Now, sending crypto is really the same process regardless of where you're sending it to or from. So whether that's an exchange to a cold wallet, exchange to a hot hot wallet to a cold wallet, it's really all the same process. It's kind of like sending an email. Yes, there are different email apps, but you really send an email the same way. And it's pretty similar with crypto. So step number 1 is you copy the receiving address from your cold wallet that you're sending crypto to. Easy enough. So you go into your cold wallet, select the crypto you want to receive, and you copy the receiving address. Step number 2 is you log into your crypto exchange and go to your portfolio. So whatever crypto exchange where you have crypto, log into that, go to your portfolio, select that crypto, and then step number 3 is you want to tap withdraw or send to start the transfer. Easy enough. Then you select the crypto that you want to send. So let's say you want to send some Solana. You'd click that. And then you just paste your cold wallet receiving address into the send spot. And then you will enter the amount of crypto that you want to send to your cold wallet. Hopefully you're sending all the crypto to your cold wallet, unless you're doing a test transaction. And then you just confirm the transaction. It will have you review everything. It will show you a breakdown of the fees and where you're sending it. So you obviously want to double check all that. But assuming all that looks good, you go ahead, confirm the transaction, and then the crypto will eventually appear in your cold wallet. Now, the time it takes to appear in your cold wallet will depend on what crypto you're sending, because different blockchain networks are more efficient than others. Like Solana is pretty quick, whereas Bitcoin could take upwards of an hour. So don't freak out if it doesn't arrive immediately. And again, always make sure you do a test transaction if this is your first time sending crypto. Okay, once you've self-custodied your crypto, you're more than halfway there. But next, step number 2, you need to appropriate wallet use. Don't expect your crypto to be secure if you don't assign each wallet with a specific job. Because like I said at the beginning of this guide, each wallet has its own job. They all have their own use case. For investors, a 3-wallet system is more than enough to secure your crypto. Each wallet has one job. This is what keeps your crypto safe. So let's start with wallet number 1, the crypto exchange. This is where everyone starts. So crypto exchanges are what you use to buy, sell, and trade crypto. This is obviously how you enter into crypto in the first place as well. So you initially buy crypto on an exchange, and when you're ready to cash out your crypto, you would send it back to the crypto exchange and sell it there, and then you can withdraw it to your bank account. But if you're not actively trading that crypto, you do not keep your funds in this wallet. You do not keep your crypto on an exchange. And crypto exchanges are really only good for on and off ramping your crypto and doing the occasional swap if you need to. Then we have the hot wallet. This is the wallet that you're going to use for all of your risky transactions. So if you do get to a point where you're interacting with different DeFi platforms, whether you're claiming a crypto airdrop, using a decentralized exchange to get access to a new meme token, or maybe something like mining crypto, anything like that, you want to use your hot wallet for this. You can connect it to DeFi, like I said, but the funds here should be considered at risk. So you don't want to actually store crypto in this wallet. You only want crypto in this wallet when you're actively using it for whatever you're doing, right? But once you're done with that activity, like let's say you're swapping one crypto for another on a decentralized exchange, once that swap is complete, you want to send your crypto back to your cold wallet for safekeeping. And just know that this hot wallet, since you're interacting with DeFi platforms, you do risk signing a malicious transaction approval. That's why you don't want to keep a majority of your crypto here. That's why it's important to understand that it's possible that you still lose crypto on this wallet. Of course, that's not the goal, but sometimes it can be impossible to avoid. Next, we have our cold wallet. This is the wallet that you treat as your crypto savings account or your crypto vault. You only send and receive crypto using this wallet. You do not connect it to any websites or any decentralized applications. Now, I want to clear up some potential confusion here. A lot of people, I've said this in the past videos, and a lot of people misunderstand me and think when I say never connect it to websites or dApps, that you can't send crypto between your cold wallet and a crypto exchange. That's completely fine and safe to do. That's not the same as connecting your cold wallet to a website and signing a contract approval. Two completely different things. So you can safely send crypto between your cold wallet and crypto exchanges, or between your hot wallet and your cold wallet. It's completely fine to do. It's not going to put your cold wallet at risk. So again, crypto exchanges, buy and sell crypto, hot wallets for risky DeFi transactions, and your cold wallet is your crypto savings account. If you use your wallet like this, your crypto is going to be secure. This is how I've been doing it for the past 6 years. It has worked out perfectly. And moving on to the M in S.A.M, and that is making smart decisions. Now, this seems pretty self-explanatory, and it is, but it's probably not what you think, so just bear with me for a second. So this is Edgar Dijkstra. He's a pioneering Dutch computer scientist and mathematician who profoundly shaped the foundation of programming and computer science. He helped with the functionality of GPS and how GPS works, but ultimately he believed in making code more simple than a lot of people were making it. And his quote really resonates with me and how I treat my crypto security. Simplicity is a great virtue, but it requires hard work to achieve and education to appreciate. And to make matters worse, complexity sells better. This is so true. So when I say make smart decisions, what I'm really saying is complexity does not equal more secure. The number one mistake I see investors make who are looking to secure their crypto is thinking they need an overly complex setup to be safe. And this is a lie that they sell you, and this ultimately leads to more user errors and more crypto loss. So everything that you've learned up to this point in this video is literally how I've kept my crypto secure for the past 6 years. I didn't hold anything back. It really is as simple at the core of it. And the boring stuff works, whereas the complex stuff sells. You'll keep looking for a better solution when that simple solution is better OPSEC or operational security. If you can't clearly explain what each wallet does, what each feature does, and why it exists, then your setup is probably too complex. So stick to simple operational security. Fewer wallets, clearly defined roles, no unnecessary tools or features, and no rushing or guessing in crypto. You want certainty. That's exactly how you stay secure in crypto. So I want to cover 4 lies that I've seen a lot of other influencers spew in hopes to maybe sell you something different, or I've even seen this from certain brands. The first lie is that there is a best cold wallet. This is not true. Best is subjective. What I think is the best for me might not work at all for you. So here's how you actually choose the best cold wallet. And the first things you want to check is what I call the 2 deal breakers. The first deal breaker is coin support. Does the wallet support the cryptocurrencies that you want to secure with it? If not, then it's not going to work for you. So not all wallets support the same blockchain networks and cryptocurrencies. So you want to make sure that it supports the cryptos that you hold. Deal breaker number 2 is device compatibility. Does a wallet work with your preferred device? Either your phone or computer, or maybe both if you want to be able to use both to manage your cold wallet. And that's something else I want to talk about when it comes to cold wallets, is all cold wallets utilize some kind of app. Now, that doesn't mean the cold wallet is online. The app is simply a middleman that is used to initiate transactions. So the important thing with a cold wallet is where the keys are stored and where transactions are signed. With a cold wallet, the keys are stored offline in a secure environment in the physical hardware wallet, and transactions are also signed in that same offline environment. All the cold wallet app does is communicate unsigned and signed transaction data back and forth between the blockchain network where your crypto lives and offline on your hardware wallet where your private keys are, where you sign and approve these transactions. So just know that cold wallet apps are completely normal, completely safe, and it doesn't mean that your cold wallet is connected to the internet. Lie number 2 that I see all the time in the comments section on my channel is that air-gapped wallets are more secure, and that's the only way to secure your crypto. This is completely false, and air-gapped wallets are mainly marketing. Not only are they more complex to use, but they don't offer any additional security that you won't get with a non-air-gapped wallet. So the common misconception is that air-gapped wallets are more secure because they're not connected to the internet. But that's not what air-gapped means. All cold wallets are disconnected from the internet. That's why they're secure. Air-gapped wallets are physically and digitally isolated from other forms of communication like Bluetooth and USB. So instead of signing transactions using Bluetooth or USB, you usually sign it over QR codes. So the wallet will actually have a camera where you scan a QR code and then you sign the transaction, or maybe through micro SD cards, which both of those methods could still technically be compromised if they're not designed well, right? But this does not equal more security at the end of the day, and oftentimes the added complexity leads to more user errors. So yes, you can use an air-gapped wallet if you want, but don't expect it to actually increase your security. Lie number 3, which is right up there with the air-gapped wallet one, is that Bitcoin wallets are more secure. So Bitcoin-only wallets are not inherently more secure for the average user. The argument here is that Bitcoin-only wallets have less code, therefore they have less attack vectors or less methods or openings for an attacker to access a wallet, which is true, but that doesn't instantly make the wallet more secure. Most real-world losses happen because of user error and scams, which is another form of user error, not because a wallet supports multiple cryptocurrencies. These wallets are primarily marketed to Bitcoin maxis who prefer a wallet that supports Bitcoin only and have no interest in holding other cryptocurrencies. But just for the record, there has been a Bitcoin-only wallet that has been hacked in the past. Again, this was a physical hack, and I believe it was a cold card MK2. That's not to say that Bitcoin-only wallets are not secure or that cold card isn't secure. I'm just simply calling out an example here that they're not more secure than a non-Bitcoin-only wallet. Security comes down to a lot more than just what cryptocurrencies the wallet supports and what code is on the wallet. Lie number 4 is that you need to use a multi-sig setup, which is complete BS. So a multi-sig setup is one that requires multiple private key or wallet signatures from different people or devices to authorize a single transaction. So let's say I had a wallet and you had a wallet and I'm trying to send some crypto and then I hit send. It's not going to send until you approve the transaction as well. That's what a multi-sig setup is. But for the average investor, this is not necessary. It's completely unnecessary. A single SIG transaction, a single SIG cold wallet is more than secure. Multi-sig is generally reserved for businesses that need to control funds across multiple decision makers or reduce insider risks within teams. So like crypto exchanges, they use a combination of cold wallets and some kind of multi-sig platform. That way there's not just one person at the crypto exchange who has control over all of the customers' cryptocurrency, right? But multi-sig setups can introduce added complexities, and they do, and unnecessary third-party risk, making them less secure, especially for individual investors. And a great example of this was the Bybit hack in 2025. Bybit's one of the most popular crypto exchanges, and their team used cold wallets in addition to multi-sig setups. And their CEO ended up signing a malicious multi-sig transaction that ultimately sent $1.5 billion worth of crypto to a scammer's wallet. So if it's not obvious by now, the one thing that you really need to secure your crypto is a cold wallet. Now, you have to use it correctly as well, otherwise it's not going to work. But like I described in the 3-wallet system, that's how you use it correctly. You only use it to store your crypto. You don't interact with any other platforms. So the truth is, there is a best cold wallet for you. Now, I can't tell you exactly what that is, but I do want to give you my top 3 recommendations that I personally use. And I've tested more than 35 cold wallets, and I own more than 35 cold wallets. And these are my top 3 picks that I've used. And I've kind of classified them by who they're best for. So if you're a beginner who's looking to get their first cold wallet, Tangem's probably your best option. This is what most beginners on the channel have ended up going with and love and have even switched to from other wallets. But it is the easiest to set up and start using. That said, it is a mobile-only wallet, so you'll need an iOS or Android mobile device with NFC compatibility, which is the same technology that you use for like Apple Pay. So if your phone has Apple Pay that you can use at the store, then it should work with Tangem. But the cool thing about Tangem is that it has no battery, no cables, and no firmware updates that are required. It's literally just a card with a secure chip where the key is stored and an NFC antenna to interact with your phone. It's also the most durable wallet on the market. It's waterproof, it's dustproof, it's resistant to extreme temperatures. And this is the only cold wallet that I would ever recommend traveling with because of how discreet and durable it is, whereas these other wallets stick out like a sore thumb. It also supports a large number of blockchain networks and cryptocurrencies. So of course you want to check that, any of these wallets will support the cryptos that you own. But yeah, Tangem is one of my favorite wallets. It's the wallet that I use the most out of all my 35 wallets. And I don't consider myself a beginner, but I do enjoy using Tangem the most even today. But next we have the Ledger Flex. Ledger has been around for more than 10 years now. The Ledger Flex is great for both beginners and intermediate users, even advanced users. But they do have like a step-by-step on-screen setup, which is why I say it's good for beginners, because it walks you through each step and tells you why that step is important. They say, hey, this is your seed phrase. Make sure not to share this with anyone. It's the key to your crypto. Basically, some things that we went over in this guide. It tells you that on the screen during setup, and I really like that. The Flex supports more cryptocurrencies than Trezor, which is the next wallet I'm going to recommend, but it does lack some more advanced features like Slip39, Shamir backup, and Tor connection for private crypto transactions. If you don't know what that is and don't care about any of that stuff, then you don't really need to worry about it. I don't really use any of that stuff. Again, simplicity over complexity. However, if you are a more advanced user who appreciates more advanced features, then you would want something like the Trezor Safe 7, which is one of the most advanced wallets on the market. And I also think it's one of it is Trezor's best wallet that they've ever released. It's their first wireless wallet, so it will work with your phone and computer, either using a USB connection or through Bluetooth. So will the Ledger Flex, I forgot to mention. But Trezor is the creator of the hardware wallet. So they released the first hardware wallet back in 2014, I believe. It was the Trezor Model 1. So they are the OGs in the space. They also are the creators of the BIP39 seed phrase that we all use in our hot and cold wallets. So again, they have a lot of experience creating secure products. And yeah, it can be used with your phone and computer, and it has the advanced features that I mentioned with Ledger. It has the Slip39. It has a Tor connection for more secure transaction, or not more secure, but more privacy when you're using your wallet. So if you're interested in that, I will drop a link down in the description for all these wallets, along with my full user guides for each one and reviews. Also, most of those links, like for Tangem, you'll get a discount. Ledger, you'll get free Bitcoin. And depending what Trezor has going on, you might get a free product or a discount. But the links to those are down in the description, along with how to use them if you want to check them out. But the key takeaway is that you need a cold wallet to secure your crypto. That's how I've remained safe for the past 6 years, but I'm sure you still have a ton of questions about cold wallets. So if you want to learn more about how they work and get all of your questions answered, I answer over 100 cold wallet questions in this next video. I'll see you over there. God bless and peace out.